talk about how you can find a suitable journal for your paper. This is an important topic, and today we'll look at the different factors you should consider while matching your paper to a journal scope. Now let's look at some of the important factors to consider when you're targeting a journal. One of the first factors to look at is the type of your manuscript, whether that is acceptable to the journal. The journals publish manuscripts of different types: original articles, case studies, review articles. Then you need to look at whether the journal prefers a certain type of study design and whether your paper matches what they expect. And then the third thing is the preferred subject areas of the journal. Now there is one more factor which is often not considered by authors, and that is the location where your research was conducted. So sometimes journals may want to publish work done in certain countries or in certain contexts, like developing countries, Asian countries, and so on. And finally, we have the content-related instructions that may be supplied by the journal. By this, we mean specific advice on the statistics you need to use, the methods, the sample type, the sample size, and so on. This could vary from one journal to another. So these 5 factors, namely the manuscript type, the study design, the preferred subject area, the location, and finally the content-related instructions. These 5 factors are important to check. So now let's look at a few journals. Let's try to match your paper with a few journals and arrive at the one that seems most suitable. Well, to begin with, let's talk to an assumption. Suppose you have written a paper on using endoscopy for the treatment of gastric stromal tumor. And this is a medical example, but just assume that you have written such a paper, even if you're not from the health sciences. So this paper you would like to publish in a reputable journal, and you have identified 5 journals, and you would like to identify the one that is the best match. So how do you proceed with this? So first, let us look at what your article actually is, the nature of the article. It is an original article and not a review article, and not a case study, and then it is also a clinical study, and it is on the subject of gastroenterology. And finally, the research, let's assume for the sake of this example, that the research was conducted in China. So these are 4 qualities about your article. Now that we have these qualities ready, let us try to match your paper with the 5 journals that we have identified. So first, we have the Journal of Gastrointestinal Surgery. This journal publishes original articles and clinical studies. There are no location specifications, and the content-related instructions also match. So that's good so far, but your study proposes a non-invasive strategy for the treatment of gastric stromal tumor, whereas the Journal of Gastrointestinal Surgery, as the name says, it focuses purely on surgery. So this is a point of mismatch. So let's move on to the next journal, and this is the Clinical Journal of Gastroenterology. This journal also publishes clinical studies, and the preferred subject area is gastroenterology. That is good, and there are no location specifications. The content-related instructions also match. But there is a problem. This journal publishes only case reports and reviews, but yours is an original article. So this is a point of mismatch. So let's move on to the third journal, and this is the Canadian Journal of Gastroenterology. This journal publishes original research, clinical studies. Subject area is a match, gastroenterology. Content-related instructions also match. But the journal publishes Canadian research. That's what the journal prefers. As the name says, Canadian Journal of Gastroenterology. But note that this is specific to this journal. Not all journals that have a country name publish work from only those countries. But in this case, it happens to be this way. So the Canadian Journal of Gastroenterology prefers research carried out in Canada to be reported. So there is a bit of a mismatch in the location aspect. Now let's move on, look at another journal, and this is a journal of pediatric gastroenterology and nutrition. This journal publishes both original research and clinical studies, so that's good. And the preferred subject area is a match. This journal is about gastroenterology, so that's also good. And there are no location specifications, also good. But there is something more to look at, the content-related instructions. Now this journal publishes research done on children. As the name of the journal says, it's about pediatric gastroenterology and nutrition. But your research was done on adults. So this is a mismatch. Let's look at the fifth one. And this one is called gastrointestinal endoscopy. And this journal publishes original research, clinical studies, and the subject area is a match. In your study, you used endoscopy, so that is also a match. There are no location specifications, so a good match with the content-related instructions. So everything is a match. So we have found a good journal for your paper. That is, your paper is a good match with gastrointestinal endoscopy. So if you follow this method, it won't be too difficult for you to choose a good journal for your paper. Well, I hope this talk was instructive. See you next time.